Alright, so today we're going to do our Spanakopita, and I'm going to show you how to do it with the fresh dough that we have here. Okay, with the fresh dough, when you're done, you're going to brush it with olive oil, and then if you want, you can apply your sesame seeds, okay? If you're going to use the Discos, I'll show you how to do that real quick, but we've done empanadas a few times, so you should know how to do this as well. If you're doing with empanadas, make sure you use an egg wash instead. So let me show you how to roll out the phyllo dough. Okay, so you want a decent amount of flour because you don't want this to stick at all, okay, especially with the phyllo dough, all right? So make sure you get your thin dowel, make sure you put enough flour on it, okay? When you're doing phyllo dough, you want to use things like this small. Since we're doing small, little pastries, we don't need a really huge dowel. In Greece, they have some that are big like broomsticks, and they're called plastis, okay? So we're going to use a smaller one, okay? But if you're ever going to do big sheets of phyllo, you got to get one of those really long dowels. Okay, so let's start rolling this guy out. Decent amount of pressure. See if it starts to stick. Okay. So collect more flour. Okay. Don't be afraid to put too much flour. We'll shake it off. But this is one of those things that you want a decent amount of flour. Okay. This one's a little cold, so you can see it's pinching back. But you want to keep it like this. So remember, this is country style phyllo, okay? So you want it to be a little on the thicker side. It's not going to be like tissue paper like other phyllo dough. All right, so I'm going to roll this out a little more and come back. Okay, I've been rolling it out for a little bit, and you can see it's kind of getting transparent. All right, it's kind of hard to see on the camera here, but it's very, very thin. I'm going to make it a little thinner. Good enough, okay, and then we'll form into a shape. Okay, you can see here how thin it is. Okay, it's going to pinch back a little bit. All right, so let me get my filling, and we'll start making some shapes. Okay, so let's brush on a little oil before we fold it. I'm going to try to put this into a triangle shape as best we can. Make sure you put a decent amount of oil. This will help to give it a nice crunch. Okay. Okay, if I wanted to, I could take a pizza cutter and make strips to do perfect triangles, but I don't really want to waste this nice dough of mine here, okay? So I'm going to pull it here, okay? And then once I put the filling in, I'm going to put a little more. All right, so not too crazy with the filling, maybe like about a heaping tablespoon. And I'm going to try to do one of these things where I fold it over into a triangle. So push it down a little, all right? Okay, so let's go over like this. And just imagine that we're going to make a phyllo triangle, okay? And then we'll flip it over again. You know, you can get creative and do your own shapes, okay? All right. So I'm going to put this in like this and make like a little kind of triangle pouch. You could do like a burek, like almost like a burrito. Okay, I'm going to just make this a nice little square pouch, kind of tuck it, okay? And then I have my nice little beautiful little pita pouch here, okay? So I'm going to take this guy, all right, I'm going to put it on my parchment. I'm going to put a little oil right here too because I don't want it to stick, okay? Okay, in Greece we use a lot of oil. We don't really use a lot of butter, mostly in confections and like pastries. Even in pastries they use a lot of olive oils, even in the Middle East and Eastern Europe instead of butter. That's why people live longer out there, because they don't eat so much frickin' butter. All right, so we'll top it with a little bit of our sesame seed. You can also put a little sea salt if you like. All right, I'm going to just sprinkle a little bit on here. All right, just go close so you know, if you're going too high, it's gonna go all over the place. You wanna go close so it's adhering to the olive oil, okay? So I'm gonna bake this guy, and we'll come back and see what he looks like in about 10-15 minutes. All right, so while that's baking, let's just go over the Discos real quick. Again, you know, not too much flour with the Discos. You know, you can use the plastic. I like to kind of roll them out just a little bit as well, just to get a little more surface area, okay? Let me zoom in a little bit here. All right, just give it a little roll back and forth just to make it a little wider, a little thinner. Okay, okay. Now we have, you know, you can also work it with your hands. Okay. Now we could go with the traditional one. We could do like almost like a trifold kind of thing, like a dosa. but I'll leave it up to you what you want to do. All right, so we'll just do the traditional. Another thing in here, remember, put your water on the edges. That's your glue. Okay. Now you could use a fork to press it down, but try to do the abuelita way. Remember, I showed you a few times. So remember, like about a heaping tablespoon right in there. Okay. Maybe a little more. Me, I like them full. I don't like those skimpy empanadas that people make. All right, and then you can put it in your hand. It's easier and almost like you're making a dumpling. You want to go from one end to the other because you want the air to come out this way. So just pinch, pinch, pinch the seams. Okay, just like we did when we made our homemade empanadas. Okay, pinch them nice. Don't pull too much. Also work with this when it's kind of cold so it's not stretching too much on you. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Almost looks like a little pot sticker. All right, and now remember the abuelita style. Okay. Put your thumb and go over. Thumb down, over. Thumb over, thumb over, over, over. Get that nice braided look, okay? Also, the dough has to be really cold for this to happen and not crack, okay? So if you have empanada discos that have been sitting on the counter all day or they've been refrozen, they're gonna look like dookie, all right? So there you go, you got your nice little braid going. Maybe give it a tuck here, okay? So that's that, all right? So with this guy, we're definitely going to brush him with the egg wash, okay? Not the oil, all right? So just take your brush, just a little, make sure you get the egg wash in there good. Make sure your egg wash is very scrambled, no albumin showing, no egg whites, okay? And then we'll just give this guy a nice brush. Make sure you get in the nooks and crannies of the braid, okay? This will give cut, make sure you get over here, no bald spots, okay? All right, so that's looking very nice right there. And we'll just put a little bit more sesame seed on there to just Greekify it just a little bit more. Okay, remember, go close with the sesame seeds. If you want to put a little bit of flake sea salt on the edge here, let me just zoom in a little bit here. Okay, right there on the edge, just get our Maldon flake sea salt. Just put a little bit on the edges if you want, just to get a little more salty crunch, okay? So that's gonna go in the oven for about same amount of time, about 15 to 20 minutes. So let's go check on our phyllo dough here. All right, so this guy's out the oven. Very nice crust, very nice color. You can feel that, you can see the flakiness here. Oh, I kind of popped that. Okay, let me cut that in half so we can see what it looks like. Okay, let me just grab a knife. All right, so let's cut this in half, even though I punctured it, but you see that's what we were going for, that nice crispy dough. So I'm gonna cut it. Well, that's exactly what you want to hear. Okay. All right. This is very hot right now, so you can see those layers. Okay. Right in there, how nice everything looks. This is what you're looking for. Okay. A few layers. Some of them are softer on the inside. The top layer is nice and crispy. Okay. And now let's check out the empanada, how that guy looks. Okay. Alright, so here's our empanada. Looks pretty good. Regular empanada, a little brown on the bottom. Nice braiding up top. You see the sea salt and the texture. Okay, if you want to cut it in half to see what it looks like. But I'm just going to leave it whole. Alright, so this is very tasty, especially if you do it with the homemade phyllo dough. I hope you enjoy this project of my peoples. Have a great day.